This yo-yo's called the AIRA, and it breaks all the rules. Let me explain. Over the last 3 decades, yo-yos have gone through a massive evolution in design. Back in the 90s, most yo-yos looked like this. Usually plastic, they came back up with a tug, and the tricks you could do were relatively simple. Then, ball-bearing yo-yos became popular, which eventually led to unresponsive yo-yos that don't come back up with a tug. Yo-yos suddenly spun 20 times longer, which skyrocketed trick innovation for the next 2 decades. From around 2008 to 2016, people cared a lot less about trick difficulty and more about style, innovation, and the way tricks were performed. All the top players had unique styles that set them apart. But over the last few years especially, trick focus has drifted away from that style and innovation, and it feels like 99% of yo-yo designs have stayed true to one clear focus: more performance. It feels like every yo-yo today is trying to push the boundaries of performance by making it wider, longer spinning, and more powerful than the last. Now don't get me wrong, this isn't a bad thing. This focus on performance has made it possible for some of the most difficult tricks ever to be done. But in the process, that other side of yo-yoing about style and innovation, one of the coolest parts about yo-yoing is seeming to fade away. The thing is, the types of tricks players are doing has always been a reflection of the yo-yos they're using. The era of small technical tricks was led by yo-yos around 50 millimeters in diameter. Then bigger arm tricks became popular when yo-yo's diameter grew from 50 millimeters to 56. And with the direction yo-yo design has gone recently, with yo-yos becoming so much more wide, powerful, and forgiving, it's had a real effect on what players are focusing on, and in turn what they're not focusing on. Few players are focused on innovating new styles of tricks and, more importantly, performing their tricks in a way that make them stand out. This side of yo-yoing is so important because whether you're a player who dreams of winning a contest one day yourself, or you just like yo-yoing casually and you never plan on competing, the way you perform your tricks is something that will always set you apart and make your yo-yoing stand out from the rest. So I decided to do something about it. The idea really clicked for me at the most recent World Yo-Yo contest. I had just launched Yo-Yo Champion and I was watching this new wave of insanely talented players pushing trick difficulty further than ever. And when I had an opportunity to step back on stage for a guest performance, I couldn't help but think back to when I was competing. Back then, I was known for doing something different, using small yo-yos as a training tool to improve my trick accuracy. That technique helped me gain my second world title. So throughout the contest, there was one question that kept replaying in my head. In the current yo-yo scene today, is there another tool outside of small yo-yos that could give every player an advantage? A tool that would help set you apart from everyone else? That is where the idea for the AIRA began. What if there was a yo-yo that was designed to have a completely different purpose? A yo-yo specifically to help you develop your style, polish your tricks, and improve your control. It would need to be something completely different than most yo-yos coming out today. And here's how I made the AIRA exactly that. First, I designed the AIRA to weigh only 50 grams. This is where it helps build your control, and with most yo-yos weighing 65 to 68 grams, this is a massive shift. I wanted it to be light enough to feel completely different, but not so light that it loses all of its usable spin time and stability. I pulled the weight back as far as I could while still leaving enough in the tank to where it could handle all of your best tricks. To make that possible at AIRA's weight, I added an inner ring cutout to enhance stability while keeping the yo-yo as light as possible. Just look at how much tilt resistance this yo-yo has because all that friction is removed from the center. When the yo-yo's this light, every input you give shows up in how the yo-yo responds. Nothing is hidden. You can feel exactly how the way you move, the yo-yo moves back. Every little movement you make gives you exaggerated feedback compared to a normal yo-yo. This makes you feel more connected to the yo-yo than ever. I mean, it teaches you how to play smooth, and the more time you put in with the AIRA, the more you'll notice your level of control naturally increasing. Second, to help you develop your style and inspire trick innovation, the yo-yo has to be fun. I mean, that's why we all yo-yo in the first place, and the most creativity comes from when you're just having fun and you can get lost in that flow state. To add to this, the yo-yo should feel different. When you throw the yo-yo and start doing tricks, it needs to provide a completely different and unique experience compared to other yo-yos you have. It almost needs to catch you off guard, and that is where creativity happens. It's kind of like if you're listening to a gentle jazz song and then all of a sudden I change it to this heavy metal rock, it instantly changes the mood. It makes you feel different. And if you can create that same response with your yo-yo, it makes you feel like a different player. And in that process, you'll find yourself coming up with tricks you normally never would have thought of. To maximize this, that's why I added the metal cap. See, most modern yo-yos chasing performance are heavily rim weighted, which means the weight is out here on the outer edge. But for the AIRA, I wanted to place the weight in somewhere totally uncommon, a place where most yo-yos have no weight. So instead of placing the weight on the outer edge of the AIRA, I moved it completely to the outside of the body using the metal cap. The cap literally fills the AIRA with air, giving it a unique hollow feeling. The combo of the super light body and the unique feeling the cap gives off makes the AIRA unlike any other yo-yo that's out there, and you will feel it as soon as you throw it. Here's the thing though, with innovation, style, and trick difficulty, they're not opposites. It doesn't have to be one or the other. The best players have all three. That's why I believe the AIRA is the tool that can help all players. Join the new era of yo-yo play, where you push yourself not just to learn the hardest tricks, but to master them by presenting them at a new level of control, and become the pioneer of your own original tricks and playstyle. The AIRA is now available on yoyochampion.com. Your best tricks are waiting to be created, and as always, play like a champion.